Hello, everyone. It's me. It's Prime Time Moth, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Audimus Prime. And whether you're watching us or indeed listening to us, thank you for joining us, and we welcome you to our weekly show, Transformers 84 to 24, 40 years of rolling out. A show that in the year that I keep doing this, a show that in the year of the brand's 40th anniversary, we look back and delve into the vast history of Transformers, easy for me to say. So if you're new to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're covering each year of the franchise in its own episode. Now, actually, before that's not true, we're actually covering it in two episodes because it's just so big, the franchise issues. But that's the joy of it. And we certainly have had fun getting through this. So thank you for joining us for this one. We're looking at 2009 this year. And we're looking at it in detail, and it's exciting. So please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of this wonderful content, including us mucking up what we're trying to say. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. This is it's weird to think that we're only 15 years away from the final, well, being bang up to date. Uh, but saying that, it's still 15 years.
15
Although,
years.
yeah.
15 years, eh?
Ah,
It's
madness.
actually kind of mad. And it's, as we've went through this, there's been points where, we've talked about, everybody dips in and out the franchise. There's
Hmm.
points where they're more in it. Like this year, I feel more, I'm going to say in love, right? I was going to say that. In love with the franchise than ever because I just think it's so exciting just now. We've talked about recent revelations with like the Takara doing Missing Link RC and all these kind of wonderful things have made me just so invigorated at the franchise. Transformers 1, like, I genuinely think Transform a controversial opinion, but Transformers 1 is the best movie we've had. Now, I'm not saying it's my favorite. It will never surpass 86 in that regard. But as a whole, standing in its own movie, it doesn't need anything else. The original movie needed just everything else going on to get to there. I think that this film's amazing. So there's so much to be positive about.
Hmm.
Actually, I think back to 2009, and there's another point where I was really heavily kind of in love with the franchise again. I talked about, 2008 was when I got my wife, well, not wife, my girlfriend at the time, and she really let me embrace my geekiness. I started to pick up more of the stuff. I started to pick up more of the comics. I know we're going to talk about the movie, and I know that's a controversial, post 2007 movie. There's controversial feelings for the movies. There was never a movie, Transformers movie, I've not went to cinema and just felt overjoyed that I'm sitting in a cinema seeing a Transformers film because it just, even when we get through all of them, I still felt it was a novelty because I never expected the franchise to hit that point. Like, so there was an aspect of that. But before we go into that, I want to know what you were doing in 2009. What's your recollection of 2009 for you?
I think things that stick in my head at 2009. I started my current I started at my current place of work in 2008. So 2009 was my first proper year there, sort of getting to know people at work and everything like that. And my job roles changed a lot, but where I was at the time, I had this little desk that was like a hotel reception, and I was in the photocopying room, and I had like my monitors sort of hiding behind this thing, and I distinctly remember just poring over whilst I was at work, probably supposed to be doing more work stuff, poring over all the stuff that was coming out about the 2009 movie. Um, so like they released loads of really high res images of some of the characters and stuff, and that was all amazing. I remember poring over images of Devastator before the film came out, thinking, "Wow, this is amazing." I mean, my opinion may have changed slightly over time, but it was stuff like that, and yeah, it was an exciting time, and yeah, yeah, that's about it. I don't remember anything else came out in 2009.
No, that's it. Okay, let's chat about what happened in 2009. So, before we get into the movie, I know last week we just dived right into the movie. We're going to hold off in the movie. Well, let's talk about everything else first. So, in 2009, we still have IDW going for a good few years, so I can't keep saying they still have IDW. But IDW comics are in their it's weird to say infancy, but I think until they hit ongoing, they were still almost
Mhm.
finding their feet to an
Yeah.
extent. I talked last week about the aspect of enjoying the spotlight stuff. Um, there's one of the spotlights that comes out this year that I would say it's a peak, but what it brings to the franchise is something exciting, and that is, well, not the spotlight itself, but Drift, and actually the spotlight Drift and the Drift character. We talk about IDW. I think some of the IDW works are some of the best written Transformers material ever.
Mm.
Hands down. Like I say that more than meets the eye will always be my favorite bit of Transformers media. I just thoroughly enjoy it. Last Stand of Records might be even second. It's just so good. The character Drift is a character I absolutely love. Always have. The very first moment I read about him, and there's something about him, something cool about him. The
Mhm.
whole backstory. So IDW at this point is kind of bringing its own stuff in, and I think for comics, being able to bring their own character to life and give it their own bit without any real restrictions from Hasbro. We saw that in the original stuff with like Circuit Breaker and stuff like that, where they do Death's Head. Bringing
Mm.
characters in and going, we can kind of do what we want. It gives them a lot of freedom. I think that you could see that with that. There's other kind of highlights through that year. All Hail Megatron finished. We
Mhm.
talked last week about how good a series that was. If you've not read that, I absolutely thoroughly recommend that. Other spotlights, kind of Metroplex, right? Metroplex was one of my absolute favorites as a kid, but he never really got a lot of love in the cartoon. Like, I think
Yeah.
he's him. I think the Triptychon and him are too big almost. Like, you can't really. They kind of a bit like a Skyfire. That's just like let's use him as a gimmick almost.
Mhm.
So kind of getting something focused on him was good. We had Maximum Dinobots finish. So it was a good year of Transformers comics in this year, with also stuff around the film. That became a trope of there's a film coming out. Let's do like kind of prequel comics, or let's do focus comics. I think kind of Tales of the Fallen, for example, in this year had that kind of tie-in aspect to the movie. And I think that's the one bit that era of Transformers movie had over and above Transformers One just now. Like, and we're going to talk about the toys. We're going to talk about the volume of toys. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing something that was relating to the movie, whether it be comics, whether it be video games. The numerous. That's the point where the video games really go down in quality.
Mm.
Tie-in video games that are just clearly just a cash in, that like they get to that point, and then all the toys, all the merch. It was a full-blown in your face. You cannot know that there's a not a, there's it's possible for you not to know there's a Transformers movie. I think that's the one thing Transformers One is lacking, is that full-blown craziness that makes people just be like, ooh. But
Yeah.
what is your thoughts on the comics from this year?
Um, yeah, again, you sort of kind of covered it. There's continuation of Maximum Dinobots, the last half of All Hail Megatron, the Bumblebee mini series was a thing. But also it's the first couple of issues at the end of the year of ongoing. Ongoing actually
Oh yeah,
started
oh
at the
yeah,
end of the
yeah. That's
year.
a good point. Yeah. What?
Um,
See the Bumblebee one, and it's going to sound really bad. I bought that for Jamie, and I've never read it. Is it any good?
um, I can't really remember.
Memorable, memorable.
Yeah, let's go with not memorable. The real highlight for the year, comic wise, for me, was the first two issues of the
One.
ongoing stories, because yeah, it was a really uh, at the time I wasn't reading all of the comics. I was picking them up sort of periodically and reading bits and bobs. I read All Hail Megatron and the majority of the stuff sort of later, but I did make a point of going to the well,
Yeah.
Forbidden Planet actually, and picking up the first two issues of ongoing and reading those, and then going, I've got no idea what's happening. I should probably go back and read the other stuff. And then left it for a couple of years and went back and read everything. But anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, it's just a really good the good way it starts with Prime basically like, turning it up and giving himself in because the humans don't trust the Transformers anymore and all of that sort of stuff. It was great and I liked it. Anyway.
It was great and I liked it. Oh,
There's also
um,
Transformers animated comic, but I don't have any recollection of that at
no,
all.
no, and actually, like I thought that when we were doing the prep, but actually, like, how have I missed that? How did I miss that at the time? How have I missed that going forward? So it's on my ever growing list of things I'd like to go and pick up. But and then
Yes.
we see the end of Transformers animated.
Hmm.
We get into cartoons, and that's a shame because I think there was points in season three where they were kind of really showing you some real
Yeah.
possibilities of what they could do going forward. Um, and yes, it was cancelled before season four could be produced. I know there's been lots of pre-production stuff shared of season
Yeah.
four, which I think what makes it even worse. Like that, that what was lined up, what was going to happen, um, and animated. My love for animated. We talked
Mm.
at length at this last week. Sorry. I get, I do kind of get where they were kind of pushing, why they were kind of pushing for something slightly different, but I just wish it's one of those ones like X-Men '97. I wish
Mm.
they'd go back and do it. I don't think they will. Like, I don't think it'll ever happen, but I would absolutely love for them to go back and push
Yeah.
ourselves in it.
Yeah, I think I'd liken it slightly more to Clone Wars than X-Men '97 in that when Clone Wars finished,
Ah,
it was
yeah,
finished prematurely and they had loads of stuff ready to go. They had a final season that took ages to come out, but then they had prior to all of that, because that was made later, but they had like animatics and stuff for entire episodes that just weren't produced, and then it took a few years for it to come about. But I don't think we'll ever be lucky enough to get that with animated. I mean, a lot of people like animated, but there is nowhere near the fan clamoring to have a fourth season of it. And it did to an extent tie itself up, not completely, but
yeah. It wasn't
um,
a horrific, glaring. Oh my God, we need a fourth season.
yeah,
It was okay. It was an alright finish
yeah,
considering, but it's just that bit that it's the same as anything. See, when you get something
yeah,
you want more of it. Um, and that's probably we've had that through other points of the franchise as well. It's had it very, very, very back at the very beginning. Sorry, when Headmasters the Rebirth came
yeah,
out,
yeah.
like I remember after that going, where's the next one? Where can I find the video for that? Like you didn't have a right to know back then. I think I think it was worse for this because the internet was there. You knew it'd be cancelled. You knew
Yeah.
that was it, and the fact that they had other stuff in mind, I think that's what really it was like. Actually, I think the fourth season would have been great, but uh, the only saving grace is they follow up with one of the other best shows they've ever created. So,
Yes.
like, had they produced something that was utter garbage in the nicest way, like I'm just gonna say it, like Energon, I'd have been like, "What have you done? What have you done to my franchise?" They didn't do that. They didn't do that. So let's talk the movie then. Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to cover with that, but I think we'll do it reasonably quickly. Do you know what you did? Let's do
You're a numbers
let's
man.
do
You're a
quick
numbers
numbers.
man.
I
You like
like
your
numbers. I
numbers.
like
Go for it.
numbers. So Transformers 2007 made 319-ish million at the American box office, 708 million worldwide. Revenge of the Fallen beat that. It did 400 million at the domestic box office and 434-ish million at the worldwide international box office, giving a worldwide of 836. So it was about 130 odd more than the previous film. The DVD and Blu-ray sales were slightly lower, but I think that's more of a reflection of a slight shift towards streaming. But hey, that's only
Mm.
just in its infancy at that point, so let's not get ahead of ourselves there.
Still wasn't
But
bad.
Oh no, not by a long shot. It made a fair chunk of money, and it started shifting again towards the box office queue, the international box office being higher again. Um, but yeah, it was that was numbers good. And the good thing is that it made way more than its budget, and that meant that we were going to continue getting sequels, which was great news because this film was poo.
You think so? As I said, I'm one of these people that I am just so grateful that we've got Transformers movies, right? I
Yeah,
don't deny that. I see the positives in different bits of it. There was aspects of this film that people hated. I
yeah,
actually really
yeah, yeah.
enjoyed.
I,
Like, and
I
I don't know if that says a lot about me or like
no,
my
no,
low
no.
standards.
I'm being unfair to the film because, well, I mean, I'm possibly being unfair to the film. I did really enjoy it at the time. I really, really liked it. It's it came out. Sorry, it was made during the writers' strike. There was a writers' strike around
Yeah.
2008 ish when they were filming it. This affected lots of films around the same time, but Revenge of the Fallen was notably one of those that got hit quite hard, and it does show because the film. I, I
Well,
like the
it's a
film
bit
a
of
lot.
continuity.
There's
There's a
lots.
bit of continuity lacking, isn't there? It
Yeah,
doesn't
there's
feel.
lots. Yeah, there's lots of really really good things about the film. There's loads of stuff I love, but it doesn't. It's not quite sure what kind of film it's trying to be, and it's a bit of a mess story wise. It's sort of part um, globe-trotting Indiana Jones-esque
Yeah.
find the MacGuffin kind of thing. But it's also part like continuation of the previous film. It's also introducing like a ton of lore, an absolute ton of lore is introduced in this film. Which isn't necessarily how people would like or remember it. And then you have this amazing end action set piece that A makes no literal sense at all. B, there must be some time travel involved because the army arrives at the sea and then they get to the pyramids like 15 seconds later. It's quite a long way. It's quite a long way. But anyway, stuff like that. And you got the whole plot with Sam Michaela and the is he gonna is he are they gonna get back together kind of weird subplot that they
Yeah.
shoehorned in for some reason. And then Sam's the chosen one because of reasons. And that
Because of
but
reasons.
anyway, so but what I'm basically saying is that it was a bit of a mess story wise. There's some lots of good stuff in there. There's some
Yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah.
really great
It just
action.
doesn't hang together
Yeah,
perhaps as well as it could have.
and you do get more time with the robots, and that's good. And Prime does what Prime does best, gets himself killed, only to
Useless
be
twat.
only to be resurrected later. Yeah, well, I mean, you literally had both of the leaders were resurrected in this one film.
Yeah.
Um, Lots of missed opportunities, but also some really, really great stuff. I mean, I
Wheelie, like, for example. Wheelie's amazing. Is Wheelie more or less annoying than his 86 version?
it's a tough one. I mean, the 86 version is definitely less horny. Um,
I don't know, he's riding Grimlock a lot.
on his back though. Um, uh,
How he likes
yeah, bareback. Um, this went down a dark path. Right. So yeah, that's some really cool stuff. What what was I going to say? There's also they introduce some elements, sort of Transformers
it.
big lore elements that they kind of. So the first one is a pretender. They have a pretender in this.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
the best looking
and
pretender of all of them.
honestly, yeah, that whole thing is really good, but the way that it's executed is a bit weird.
Yeah,
The way the girl looks when she transforms and all of her face comes apart and all of that looks amazing.
yeah.
And then unfortunately the bot just looked just like frenzy underneath, which is a bit of a shame.
A
Um,
lot of them, I always felt that a lot of the stuff's kind of a bit generic.
yes,
Not
yes.
unique enough.
Yeah, and this is the first film that you get lots of generic Transformers because when the Decepticons all turn up at the big
Yeah,
end fight, you've got loads of just protoforms that are just reused models from the previous film.
yeah.
Um, but one thing that is worth noting, this film came out in 2009. The previous one came out in 2007, and they hadn't started making this one when the first one came out. So this actually was produced and released within
That's
2 years
pretty
of the last
impressive,
one
including a
during a
writer's strike.
writer's strike. So the fact that it is actually anywhere near as watchable
Yeah.
and enjoyable and made the money that it did is kind of a miracle. And the fact that we also got so many new designs in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
They could have just reused all of the same
Yeah.
models and chucked out a storyline with nothing new in it at all. But we got new designs for Megatron, we got new designs for most of the other characters. Starscream got some tattoos for reasons. Um, and you ended up with new Autobots and new Decepticons, some of which don't say anything, just are there sometimes, like Jolt, who like appears
Yep.
towards the end of the film and then does a thing, but then isn't in the rest of it. And also you get Soundwave, which I'm sure you're very excited about, even though he just
Yes.
floats around
It's
in
not the
space and
best
does
version of
nothing.
Soundwave, let's be honest. Like it
No.
gets better. When he
Yeah.
becomes a Mercedes, he's much cooler.
Yes.
But yeah, I remember being incredibly excited at the idea of Soundwave.
Yes.
I also, and I don't know, I think I'm kind of minority. I kind of enjoy Skids and Mudflap. Actually, to be fair, I enjoy Skids and Mudflap as the ice cream van. That just is such. There's something. See, like we talked about with like the Punish and Enslave on Barricade, and
Mhm.
there's something about that ice cream truck like that I just really enjoy, like the
Yeah.
toy and even just
That's
fun.
the ice cream truck toy is actually incredible. I really like that. I think that I mean there's a lot of discord about them being racial stereotypes, which fair. But they're 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 the Jar Jar Binks of this film, aren't they?
Yes.
You can enjoy them for what they are, and that's fine. And if you like them, that's fine. But also, if you don't like them, that's also fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if you're offended by them, that's also fine. I personally have no particular feelings towards them of any particular ilk. I don't particularly enjoy them, and I don't particularly hate them. Although, much like Jar Jar Binks, their role in the sequel is largely removed due to
Yeah.
backlash.
Yeah.
Because they were in it, they were filmed,
Yep.
the cars were done, the
Yep.
cars appear in one scene
Yeah.
in the background, even though they're not actually in the film, which is interesting.
Yeah. And I do get why there is backlash. I do, like 100% get. Of course you do. But I think it's the why do you want to be so critical of all this stuff? There's some
Oh,
stuff in it
I
like
know. Yeah.
the other bit, there's loads of bits that are throwbacks to the show, or the lore. The other one that I always enjoyed was Jetfire as a Decepticon.
Mm,
Just that. Oh, he's a Decepticon, and then it's like, oh, we know what happens in it. But just that aspect of actually, that's what happens in the G1. Like he's Starscream and he's a Decepticon. No, he's a good guy. So it's its own telling of that story.
yeah. There is, as I said, there's some good stuff in this. It does try to expand the lore of this version of the Transformers universe. So
Yeah.
you get the stuff with the Primes and the Fallen, and the fact that they've been to Earth in the past. I I know that Transformers is intrinsically linked to taking place on Earth because it has to.
Yeah.
But the way the Bayverse movies make Earth the center of the universe
every
for
every every
Transformers.
film it goes further back. They've been
Yeah.
here before, but before that, and also before that.
Well, I mean, this one they go quite far back, not quite as far as the last night where it turns out Unicron is Earth. Uh, um, but they go quite far back
Yeah.
with the Primes and the prehistoric humanity and all that stuff. That's all really interesting, and that the Primes built the pyramids less. I got a bit confused, to be honest, at that point. Because they're prehistoric times, but then they also built the pyramids. Or did the Egyptians build the pyramids over a gigantic space laser? Uh, Whatever. Anyway, that's all by the by because you do have several amazing moments in that.
Yeah.
The forest battle, absolutely
Yes.
incredible. Amazing animation, just looks fantastic. Unfortunately, has the Bayverse trick of, oh, let's just go and focus on this human here in the foreground and not worry about the amazing battle happening in the
Yeah.
background. But hey, that's fine. You also have the whole pyramid battle, which has obviously Devastator and his testicles climbing up the pyramid. Which again, it looks cool. Apparently, I believe that Devastator was the most complicated CGI model ever created at the time.
Wow, I can believe that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was very impressive. We talk about wow moments like that. That 2007's Optimus Prime reveal
Mm,
isn't topped in any of the films, in my opinion. Like I think that just had because it was the first time we ever saw anything like that. But Devastator, like
yeah.
combining of
Oh,
Devastator
that
was pretty damn cool.
that whole scene with the all the construction vehicles turning up and then the way it combines is just so much cooler than I could have
Yeah,
thought because it's always been bit transforms, it trends on itself and whatever. But this, the whole way that it was almost like capturing parts of it with chains,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
almost like they didn't want to be
yeah.
combined. That was very cool. I really, really liked that.
No, it was
Um,
good.
but
So
yeah,
yes, I think and I think when we get to the other films, we'll probably have the same aspect of on the live action films of the original stuff. 2007 stands out. The rest, the quality's maybe not as good as there, but I think again, every film, there's something in every film that makes you go, "That's quite cool," and that was the always the bit I focused on in these films was like, firstly, as I say, to get to see a Transformers film in the cinema, like that's just cool in itself, in my opinion, and always will be. Same as like I went to see Empire Strikes Back last week,
mm,
and I still get goosebumps when the Star Wars logo come up and the music come up. I don't think I'll. I'm 44. I've seen that film a couple of times in the cinema, but I've seen so many Star Wars films in the cinema.
mm,
I still get that excited. I think I'll still always have that excitement of a Transformers film. There will always
yeah.
be that little bit of kid in me is like, oh, it's a Transformers film in the cinema. Even
Yeah.
more so, and hopefully in 2 years' time when they release the 86 movie back in for anniversary, that's when you take advantage of Cine World Pass and you just
Oh
move in.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty much definitely going to happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I got the excitement when Transformers One started, and I do every time. Every single one of these live action movies, they release a trailer, and I instantly forget all of the problems I had with the last film. And when we get to the last night, I've got a whole other thing to say about that in terms of being fooled into thinking it was the best movie I'd ever seen. Uh,
I
but
look forward to that story.
I'll get to that when I get to it. But you know, I see it. I love aspects of it, and I think it's amazing. And it's only later that I reflect
Realize it's
and
not.
yeah. I mean, Revenge of the Fallen. I will happily say that this is the Transformers movie I have probably seen the least. I think I've seen all of them multiple times, but I think Revenge of the Fallen I might have sat through the least, apart from maybe last night.
Yeah, last night's still definitely one for me. Revenge of the
Yeah.
Fallen I've seen a few times. Like I
Oh,
do still enjoy it. I don't think it's is it my second favorite live action?
oh yeah, I completely forgot about the
No,
other
Dark
storyline.
Moon. What's the other storyline?
It has the whole coming of age, going to university,
Oh
college
yeah,
goofball adventure movie with the parents getting
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
high and the
Again, it's trying to do too much. It's like
yeah, far too
what kind
much.
of film is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that was a challenge. Whereas the first film, the premise they were sold on was a boy gets his first car,
Yeah.
which isn't really the full bits of story,
No,
but
no, no.
it's interesting. But yeah, no,
Anyway,
I it's not the worst of them.
No, no,
When we
it's
get to the
not.
worst of them, it'll be quite obvious.
Yes, yes. I mean,
But
we are in the period of diminishing returns, but I would say that there is a peak. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you got a good. It goes peaks and troughs basically. It's almost like a reverse Star Trek. The even number ones are terrible, and the odd number ones are less terrible.
terrible.
But that
Which of the films is the best box office? Do you know offhand?
I think it's Dark of the Moon. I
Yeah, I
think
think it
it's
is
either
too.
Dark of the Moon or Age of Extinction.
Oh God, it'll
Um,
better be Darker than then.
yeah.
Don't feel as if it should be. Yeah. Anyway,
It might be Age of Extinction.
well,
Anyway,
whatever that
right.
for. Well, whatever that for the future. We've got that to come.
Yes.
But that's been a look back, and over the media of 2009. We have got tomorrow's episode, which will let see us talk through the toys, and we're back to the crap tons of toys
It's
that
just
the movies
relentless.
do bring, and bring new, wonderful kind of different gimmicks and things that they're going to release. So we'll see you for that. But thank you very much for joining us as we talk through 2009. I've been Primetime Moth, and this has been the wonderful, I don't know whether you're bottom left, up somewhere round about me has been the wonderful Optimus Prime.
It's me, I'm
Um,
here.
hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your mum, tell the cleaner, tell the dentist, tell anybody you can. Um, and also, well, talking about things to talk about, we have got wonderful t-shirts in stock from Looking Tees as a way to celebrate the 40th anniversary. Primetime Toys collaborated with Looking Tees to come up with these fantastic designs. So we've got Cake Wave blowing his birthday cake candles out, and we have Optimus Prime blowing his out as
Which I'm
well,
not
which
wearing
isn't on,
because,
but
yeah,
that's images will be somewhere
it's
that
in
we
the
can
wash.
share.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are great t-shirts to celebrate the 40th anniversary. Highly recommended. Looking at stuff always really good. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite t-shirts of all time. I do need. I've told him I need one for every year, just every year, change the number. I don't think he was too happy with that idea, so I might get a generic one just so I can wear it on my birthday every year. But anyway, thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking to you all in the future.
Bye.